Hej og velkommen til Mølle med mig, Anders Aarhusen, og med
Niels Kristian. Anders, du sidder og griner igen, fordi den der jingle der, for at du sige det mildt, så var den funky i dag, da vi skulle optage. Den kommer bedre ud, når lytterne får den.
Ja, det var remix-udgaven, vi fik.
Ja, det var det. Anders, vi springer jo lige let og elegant ud i det i dag, det her med hvad hedder det, siden sidst og sådan noget, fordi vi har jo et stramt program i dag. Vi skal have gæster i dag.
Det skal vi i hvert fald, så skal vi bare hoppe i en lynhurtig siden sidst?
Ja, jeg har cirka kun smagt et lækkert øl herhjemme.
Jamen, jeg var en tur på Midtfyn i Ringe i sidste uge, hvor vi udkommer her i fredags, og holdt en ølsmagning for Amager, og det var på Luds Café i Ringe. Og det vil jeg absolut, skulle man være på de kanter, så ind og støt. Det er et rigtig, rigtig hyggeligt sted. Masser af aktivitet. Der var landskampe, der er noget banko, har jeg set, og alt muligt andet. Men der er også ølsmagninger. Gangen før mig var det Illuminati. Og så Amager næste smagning, der er her i slutningen af april, det er Bad Seed, der kigger forbi.
Så Amager Bryghus eller dig i midten?
Ja, det blev sådan en det lyder helt forkert, en sandwich af pålægget i sandwichen af Illuminati og Bad Seed.
Ja, men der kan man bare se. Nå, jamen, hvad oplevede du på den her café?
Jamen, det var rigtig hyggeligt. Der var for det første udsolgt til arrangement. Det var 36 gæster. Det var delt ind. Der var ligesom sådan et værtshusrum ude foran med barer og sædepladser. Og så var der et rum med noget brætspil og en pinballmaskine og en storskærm, tror jeg. Der havde været noget landskamp dagen før, da Danmark vandt i parken. Ja. Og så var der et større rum nede bagved, hvor der også var et billiardbord, det var så dækket til, og så var der dækket op til spisning. Først ved en kok over fra lokalområdet, der lavede noget rigtig fint mad. Der blev spist, jeg tror han sagde, 10 kilo rigtig lækkert svinekød på noget, der mindede om en halv time, eller sådan noget, de der 36 mennesker, så folk kunne lide det.
Ja, det er der gået til den så.
Det må man sige, så hoppede jeg på med 8 øl fra Amager.
Ja, og var det sådan et klassisk Amager line-up med noget IPA og noget sort og sådan lidt?
Der var fra Pink Farts and Unicorns til hvad havde vi, Pastry Prince i slutningen.
Ja, men det lyder jo som en gennemført god oplevelse.
Og der var Toddy X-Man, der var noget sort IPA, der var stout wine, men vi var bredt omkring.
Ja. Anders, har du fået lov til at sige det, du gerne vil sige om din siden sidst?
Det tror jeg bare det eneste, jeg vil gentage, det er støtte op om sådan nogle små fine steder, de findes garanteret rundt i hele landet. Nu var jeg lige i Ringe, og det var så fint. Det var et sted, der ifølge gæsternes smagning virkelig havde manglet der.
Vil du have en lille farvidighed?
Meget gerne.
Det var ikke så ringe.
Overhovedet ikke.
Nå, undskyld. Anders, vi har jo gæster med i dag, og det er derfor, vi sådan bevæger os lidt hurtigt frem, fordi vi har jo simpelthen lavet en lydforbindelse hele vejen til Rumænien.
Det har vi da.
Ja, fordi vi har jo været på Fanø Strong Beer Festival for nylig, og der snakkede vi jo med en del bryggerier, og vi snakkede jo også med Hop Hooligans fra Rumænien. Så jeg tænker, at vi slår over i engelsk lige om et kort sekund, fordi det vil være mest fair, hvis vi skal kunne forstå hinanden.
Jeg tænker, vi er dårlige på rumænsk, og jeg tænker omvendt, der er noget dansk, der vil komme til at knibe der, så engelsk må det blive, og det tænker jeg, alle vores lyttere, det skal I nok være med på.
Ja, så vi hopper over i det engelske, og så siger jeg, now in English, we are going to talk to you, Cris, from Hop Hooligans, all the way from Romania, and you have decided to join us for this, hopefully very, very cozy recording.
Hi Niels, hi Anders, hi everybody. Yep, I'm Cris from Hop Hooligans, small brewery from Romania, and yeah, let's chat.
Yeah. So Hop Hooligans. Just to be clear, is it from Bucharest, or where are you located in Romania?
I like to think of ourselves as being from Bucharest, although the paperwork says we're a bit outside. Yeah. It's a tiny city, exactly outside of the, how do you call it, the city line. Yeah. It's called Slava. But I'd say we're pretty Bucharest, yeah. Especially with the tap room downtown. So just the production space is a bit outside.
Yeah, we're used to having a beer or two, maybe three, during a recording, and today, of course, we're having Hop Hooligans beers. And before you are allowed to talk a lot about the brewery, I think we have to to try the first beer.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, and the first beer we're going to try is Hypnocake. It's called Hypnocake, cinnamon Danish swirl barleywine. And Anders and I will pour it into the glass. And when we have done that, maybe you can tell us a bit about the history of the beer.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's a barley wine.
Yeah, first of all, that was a really triggering sound. That was great.
Thanks. I did a new classic on the podcast. I poured a bit on my shirt, so.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a barley wine. As you'd imagine, style-wise, it should be sweet. So it would have been actually tricky not to overdo it, not to get it too sweet. We like to use a lot of natural adjuncts usually. So this one's got a lot of cocoa nibs, vanilla, and cinnamon. But we found usually in our experience that if you really want to pinpoint a special type of pastry, like to really nail the flavors, you have to add a bit of extract. So we were really happy with what we found. We found exactly a Danish swirl extract. Just a bit of that. Then round it up with the real stuff. We do our own extracts, the vanilla and the cinnamon one. I mean, like we get some really fancy stuff. We put it in bourbon. We do a sous vide. We really like to play around with that. And yeah, it's I just realized, yeah, it's a Danish swirl. So yeah, it should be right up your alley.
I think we'll have to taste it on us.
Yeah,
sure.
Let's do it. It smells really, really nice, and I can get all the cocoa, the cinnamon, and the vanilla. It's really what we call intriguing.
Yeah, and I actually think that I can imagine, if I close my eyes, I can imagine the Danish cinnamon swirl, and for our Danish listeners, kanelsnegl.
Yeah,
yeah. Cheers.
Yes.
Cheers to you guys too.
I'll have to have one more. It's a tradition on the podcast that I have to say that I have to have another sip.
Yeah, and it's spreading out to at least one other, perhaps two other Danish beer podcasts. So now they all do the second sip.
Yeah. How did you come up with the idea of a Danish cinnamon swirl barley wine?
Obviously, it's a pretty international pastry. Like you can find it around here, like the cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
And we wanted to, to keep it localized, to actually target the original, so to speak, prototype of the pastry. So that's why we called it like that. But it's a cinnamon barley wine has been on our list for a long time, because I think with the inherent sweetness that it has, like malty, not a lot of hops in this one. Like maybe I think we put on the label "Who cares?" where we write down hops, because it really doesn't matter here. Cinnamon would really riff off of the whole caramel goodness from the malt, so we had to do it. And I love the label also. So
and actually, cinnamon, it's an adjunct. I think that divide craft beer lovers. Some like it and some hate it in beer. But I have to admit, I had this beer once before, and I think it works very well in this beer. And I'm not that big of a cinnamon fan in beer, but I think it works really well in this beer.
I'm glad. Nice.
It's really well balanced. It's not. I think sometimes when you get cinnamon beers flavored with cinnamon, it's either too much or too little. It's overwhelming, or I don't know, underwhelming, if that's a word, but it is now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's. I think for me, this is a beer that. That's what I think when I think Hop Hooligans. But can you tell us a bit about, before we dive into all of the beers, can you tell us a bit about the history of your brewery? We know from online that your brewery is about 10 years old, but what is the story of Hop Hooligans?
Yeah, we're getting close to 9, I think, in September. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been around for a while. We started 3. There's only 2 of us left for quite a while. At the beginning, we lost one of the first main guys, tragically. But yeah, we've been 2 for like 8.5 years, something like that. I don't know. We've been pushing at it. Even the name, looking at it, sounds a bit kitschy now, but things were way different almost 10 years ago. That sounded way more cool when Brewdog Punk IPA was still cool, I guess. So we went to Hop Hooligans. Especially that our first main target was to do really good New England IPAs. That was on the rise then, and everybody was insane about them. Even us, when homebrewing, we were usually concentrated on actually nailing that style to get that really nice amount of juiciness and finally step up to that. Obviously, things changed. Like it's, I think around that time, everybody started making New England IPAs, and now it's a bit of a mix of styles. So we kind of do a lot of everything. But that was the main idea. That's why the Hop Hooligans is there. The hops were the main attraction, so to speak, even for us.
I had some years ago, I think maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I had some of your hobby beers at a tasting session with the local beer club. And I remember them to be very good IPAs. Do you still do the hobby IPAs, the hazy IPAs or the hobby beers?
100%. I think it's maybe 40% of all our output. It's hazies like IPA, double IPA, triple IPA. And the sorts, but yeah, that's and I hope they're still good. I don't like to to oversay things, but they should be good. we're doing our best. We keep changing knickknacks, and it's it's a process.
I had one maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember the name. It was a can with I think it was a city map on the label. I can't remember the name, but it was very good.
That's a crawling distance, I think. It's a joke, yeah. So
exactly.
It's a Google Maps insert with a tiny man just crawling for a bit of a way, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Actually, you mentioned the name. I think actually you'll have the first question from our listeners then.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly the same. It would fit perfect just here.
Yeah, Henrik Papsø, he's a guy from Amager Bryghus, actually, the Danish brewery. He says, why did you choose the name Hop Hooligans when it gives some negative associations against towards violence and fighting?
Especially perhaps in football games, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do get that question a lot because a lot of people ask us, "Oh, are you guys actually in football?" Or we really aren't. Which is just we kind of used the Hop Hooligans because we loved the HH. It's not a rhyme, alliteration, I guess. Yeah, that sounded really good. And again, it was we kind of wanted to set an edgy tone, like we wouldn't actually conform to what the market wants from us. We're just gonna do what we want. It's kind of like in a ballsy way to impose ourselves on the market with the recipes. Aggressivity is far from anything in our plan ever. But I do get the question because it does pop up, especially when people are more into football. It's like, no, surprisingly not.
Yeah. I met you for the first time at Fanø, and you definitely do not strike me as hooligan types.
No, not at all.
No, you're very nice guys to be around. Have you thought about changing the name?
No, not really. I think because a lot of people already know us like that, and even in local slang, we're most known as HH. Like nobody actually calls us Hop Hooligans. It's an HH beer or something like that. So it kind of got mutated by itself in time. I'm not sure if that's a thing that we should look into that much. I do get the connotations, but hopefully people look past that.
I think you couldn't be a hooligan and do pastry sours like you do.
That's it's quite a rebellion.
Yeah. So I just have to say that now I had a few sips of. I can't stop sipping this Hypnocake because it's a very 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 drinkable barley wine, even though it's quite thick and actually kind of sweet and 12%. You can't taste the alcohol at all in these 12% ABV. It's very nice to drink.
Yeah, it's nicely hidden. I like that it's not boozy. Not even that sticky. I'm always afraid of barley wines that tend to be too sticky on the palate. This one's drinkable. Yes,
it's really drinkable. And if you, after having a few sips, I don't know how to explain, but the aftertaste that sticks around on the palate is really really close to that cinnamon swirl. I so get the the purpose of it, or the meaning of the name, and yeah, it's just it hits what I guess you aim for.
My good friend Allan, he was with us at Fanø. I shared this beer with him the first time I had it, and he said his first comment was, "It's a bit like the IKEA cinnamon swirls."
Yeah, reconstructed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the inspiration for this beer? Was it in Denmark, or was it just something that Niels from Flaneur told me, the Danish importer? What was the inspiration?
No, I think we did it way, at least the first batch. I think we did it way before exporting to Denmark. So it was just our inspiration. It might be from Denmark because we did pop in quite a few times, even without actually an event involved, just us at festivals and drinking around and seminars. But no, again, cinnamon barley wine was on the list, so we wanted to pack it up as a nice story, a nice, more complex recipe, so to speak. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and all these ideas, like the cinnamon barley wine, how do you get the ideas? That's actually a question from our listeners. How do you get all the ideas for the beers?
We're mostly foodies, so whenever we look at smoothie sours or fermented sours or imperial stouts, we kind of want to replicate things that are super cool in as a gastronomical level. So that's pretty much where we get ideas from. Cocktails are always a big source of inspiration. Cocktails for sure. It's all about the palate, I guess, in the end. So it's, even though the combinations are always limitless, these staples are always nice to tackle in the beer world, to take something from a different area and try to transplant it into actually beer. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. I know that you have been doing a collab with Daniel from Stepping Stone.
Oh boy!
Yeah. Oh boy!
What kind of a beer is that? If you're allowed to tell about it.
Yeah, sure. It's yeah. so it's an ice cream smoothie sour. We've been doing these for quite a while already. I think that's also killing our Hop Hooligans name. I think we should rebrand only because of that, because of the numbers of smoothie sours. It's Java banana ice cream smoothie sour. Java bananas are the blue expensive ones that inherently people say that they have flavors of vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
So we got ice cream of that. We got extra banana puree, and we got more vanilla ice cream, and then we put it all up together. And something wicked and blue is coming soon to Denmark.
I know it's coming soon. I'm also selling beers, and I have put in an order for some of those beers. Yeah,
Sweet.
it sounded too. It was too exciting to miss.
So blue banana beer.
Yeah.
Cool.
And just to clarify, I have to say that the beers we're drinking today, they are sponsored by drinkabeer.dk, my beer shop.
Thank you. Thanks for the patronage.
Anders, the barley wine, this Hypnocake. Do you follow the idea of a cinnamon barley wine?
I really do, and as I said before, I think it's so difficult to get a balanced cinnamon beer, But here it makes sense because of it, and as Cris said, it's not sticky, but it sure is sweet, but no stickiness. There's like a little bit of caramelized sugar to go with the vanilla, and then I just think I think the flavors just lingering around my mouth forever, and I think it's really nice. So it makes sense because it's not a heavy barley wine. Alcohol wines, it's what is it, 12?
12, yeah.
Yeah. So and it, as we talked about, it just hides the alcohol so well. So it's dangerous.
It actually is kind of dangerous, and the caramelized sugar. I actually think that it's very much like when you have, especially the Danish version of the cinnamon swirl. There has to be some caramelized sugar from the baking in the oven, and this one has so much of that taste of that actually quite caramelized, quite hard sugar that's clear.
Yeah.
It also has the color of that sugar.
Exactly, it's not granulated sugar. It's not like a melted caramel. It's just melting the outside of those granulated sugar grains.
Yeah. I actually think so. So, how has people, not only from Denmark, but how have they received this beer, the cinnamon barley wine, as you wanted them to do, Cris?
Yeah, I think so. From the get-go, I think it's pretty hard to sell barley wines because it's a style that people don't go directly to. Like, people still prefer stouts if you're thinking about strong ales. But it's been doing well. I'm happy. Barley wine is one of my favorite styles, so I'm usually happy when we can actually brew them and can actually see them making people happy. And this one's been doing good. It's I'm super happy with it. All over the place. Yeah, not just in Romania. Mm-hmm.
Then you have come to the right place because in Denmark, barley wine has really had a revival the last 5 years. Due to beer bloggers wanting to showcase barley wine as the very prominent style it is, the big beers.
It is. I get it. Yeah, it's a style that's been pushed over a bit, but it shouldn't. It's really good and versatile. I love it. A lot of countries are doing really good stuff with barley wine lately. So yeah, hopefully it comes back in full force.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing now in Denmark. At least we do the barleywember where we highlights barley wine for the entire month of November.
Great.
And there's supermarkets and web shops and stuff getting involved as well. So it's great.
It is. So I know we haven't had that much of this Hypnocake, but should we in a short while move on to the sour beer? We have this Rainbow Eyes Apricot Peach Ice Cream Sour. I can't wait to have it. You can hear that.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's.
Yeah. So cover your shirt on us.
I try.
Do give it a shake though.
I just had it had it stored upside down. Would that do it, or do I need to shake first?
No, it's absolutely perfect. If you had it like that for a while, it should help. Yeah.
Cool. Mm. I just make a bit of swirl.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
I just had a bath.
I didn't, but when I just looked down through the opening of the can, I guess something special is gonna be poured into my glass in a minute.
Do it.
In a moment.
Yeah, depending on the level of excitement and shaking before the pouring, some might be a bit messy.
It's actually quite thick.
I hope you could hear the sound of the pouring at Niels, because when I tried, it said absolutely nothing. It just it's you don't know that, Cris, but Niels and I sometimes talk about this is a type of beer that I almost never buy, but when Niels serves it to me, I just love it, and I don't know why I don't buy it. But sometimes I pour it into, like a fancy umbrella drink glass when I buy one, and I think, Is this beer, or is it? I need it to be on some kind of bouncy style beach in my bathing shorts, but it looks at the same time amazing and weird.
The bubbles on top, they look a bit like some fluffy caviar or something.
It's really, really thick, and the head of the beer is, again, wonderfully weird.
We do try to undercarbonate them exactly because of that, because when that bit of carbonation tries to push through the canvas of chunkiness that it actually has on top, it looks unappetizing. So let's go with that. But we have to look past that. And this is one of our best looking ones. We've got more weirder ones.
But this is apricot peach ice cream. Mm-hmm. What is the story about this? Do you actually put? I think I saw that you put ice cream powder in this beer.
Yep. There's a bit of a story actually, because I think 2 years ago we had a small tour in the States. Some of the hooligans went for some collabs and some events, and we met quite a lot of small local breweries. It was in around Virginia, the area, Virginia, a bit towards New York, and it was already a thing in the States. A lot of breweries were already doing ice cream smoothie sours, and we kind of got the idea from there, because it's rather simple in a way. You just have a base beer, you load it up with a lot of fruit, and you kind of industrially integrate ice cream powder in it also. Like the ice cream that's in the sour right now has been actually blended in with a pretty big makeshift blender that we have. So it's exactly that.
What does the ice cream powder do to the beer?
It brings in a lot of more flavor and a lot more smoothness to the chunkiness. Obviously, the fruit's already super chunky and smooth, obviously, from the fruit puree. The ice cream brings another creamy layer to it. It also has extra flavor, so that amps up the whole thing. It's an addition, so to speak, and it has no lactose, so we kind of like the sweetness that it brings without actually using lactose.
I think we have to try it on us.
It smells amazing, so we do.
Cheers.
Yes.
Cheers.
I have to have a sip. One more. What the listeners can't see is that this glass is never going to be clear again.
You almost need a straw.
Yeah.
A spoon. I think you wrote somewhere, grab a spoon.
Yeah.
But it's really, really, really nice. The apricot and the peach and the ice cream feeling. I definitely get those things in this beer. It's so tasty. It's really, really good. I've had some of your from this Rainbow Ice series before and others, but it really brings out the fruit. These ice cream beers. I think it's. I just have to say cheers once more.
Cheers then.
Cheers again.
Are Romanians, are they crazy about these fruity sours?
They started. I don't think they were at the beginning, but they got into the smoothie sour bandwagon. I think sours were generally sours were a bit weird for people a few years ago here, but bit by bit we're catching more ground with these styles. You could find even at our taproom, I go there from time to time, and I can see like there's tables of maybe 4 or 5 guys, and they're drinking smoothie sours. It's like, what's happening? What happened to West Coast? Yeah. So yeah, it's getting new fans. I like how it grows. Yeah.
So what's your favorite beer style? Is it smoothie sours, barley wine, West Coast IPAs? What's your style?
I'd say barley wines. So you started well with that one. Yeah, I'd say that's my go-to. Yeah.
It's mine too.
Nice.
Yeah. I think I have to pick a question again from one of our listeners. It's a guy called Søren. He's actually an old friend of mine. He says, "Do you have an anecdote of some kind about a failed beer or recipe that didn't quite go as planned, but ended up becoming a favorite?"
Let's say not failed recipe, but when we were playing around at the beginning with teas, we really wanted to make a green tea pale ale, and we did it. We called it Sencha, and we said it's nice, it's refreshing, but people aren't gonna go nuts about a green tea pale ale. Obviously, there's no hops in there. It's easy drinking. It's low ABV. And in time, it actually managed to become our second best seller, the Sencha. So that was surprising for us. It still is now, which is good. But like a truly failed beer, I don't know. Like we didn't have any sours go bad and actually release them and hope for people to consider them a winter sour or something like that. A stout, I mean. So, yeah, not really like that. So when we had a few bad beers, we actually dumped them.
You did recently. You did a completely black version of. I think it was one of the gelato beers. Is it called Tropical? I can't remember.
Tropical Blast.
Yeah. Was that intended to be black?
Yep. That was the plan. The ice cream powder that we used there had activated charcoal, so we wanted that to happen. That was okay. I know it was a big surprise for a lot of people, but it was intended. That one was okay.
So was that to what could you could say? Was it to play mind tricks on people?
Also that, but the ice cream was also super yummy. It's got that nice chocolate coconut Oreo vibe, so it kind of paired well with the banana. So absolutely, let's go. Obviously, it has a shock factor to it, so we can embrace that. But yeah, it worked out.
Yeah. I actually have to say that I just looked at the screen and saw Anders was pouring beer in his glass, and I think he poured so much that it was looking like a dessert.
Yeah, I did, and then the listeners can of course see this, but you can actually run your finger through it and then just pick up like a big scoop of foamy. Ice like a smoothie or like a fruit ice cream, a popsicle, something like that. It's fun, but it's not. What can you say? It's not just a fun beer. It's tasty beer as well. Because sometimes when you're a beer nerd and someone gives you a present with beers, you can go into at least in Denmark like a wine dealer and say, I would like some funny beers for a guy who loves beer. And sometimes funny beer is just funny. If you know what I mean, they're not that tasty. This one is both, but it's just I'm just intrigued with the foam and the head of the beer.
and the apricot and peach flavors, they are so great in this beer. There's so much peach in it.
There's a bit of do you remember the Solero ice cream?
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same. I guess it has passion fruit as well, but there's I get some vibes of that.
I actually think so too. And these fruit sours, your ice cream series or the rainbow ice and the sourpuss, and they are very popular in Denmark. What does Denmark or the Danish beer scene, does it mean anything to you guys?
Oh yeah, it means a lot historically, because when even before we had Hop Hooligans, we used to drop by in Denmark for festivals, especially in BCC.
Yeah,
and that's where we learned a lot of stuff from whatever the Americans were bringing in, the Europeans were trying to push. I still remember the huge lines at Omnipolo and thinking of, it can't get worse than this. There you go, it can. we just proved it. But Denmark has been meant a lot for us. We had some collabs with a lot of breweries from Denmark, which really helped us learn things. Just Ale Farm, Dry and Bitter, Gamma, just to say a few. And now, once we're actually in shops in Denmark, which is great, I'm really, really happy for that. It kind of makes sense because I feel the Danish market is pretty mature. It's pretty curious to these kind of imports and brews because it's been doing this for a while. They probably had the most, you guys probably have the most interesting imports from the US, like stuff like Mortalis, or this isn't as shocking as it would be to other countries, so to speak, what we can come up with. So Denmark has been a really nice channel and feedback channel, especially for the more experimental stuff that we do. Really happy that you guys like the beers.
I think actually it was Teddy from Fanø. He said in the last episode he said something about that the Danish craft beer scene has evolved into its own thing. We're starting to create our own identity as a beer nation, and maybe this is part of it, creating our own identity, that we're moving in new directions regarding beer.
If I may say, at the Strong Beer Festival, obviously I'm a bit ignorant and I don't know all the breweries from Denmark, but that was a good showcase to actually meet some new brewers. It's incredible what some of the small breweries are doing. Absolutely incredible. It blew my mind, quite a few breweries. So it's I could say the same like you say, like you did. It's becoming its own monster.
And actually, a question from one of the listeners, Kenneth Holm. He said, "How did you experience the quality of Danish beers at Fanø, and did you get any beers that can inspire you?"
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I had a lot of good stuff from Blas. I got a lot of good stuff from Y&B, from Brusketeers. I might be missing Gamborg. A lot of breweries that I hadn't known before, that I know of now, have really blown my mind. And I'm definitely skipping a few, and I'm sorry for that. But hell yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's funny. Some of the breweries you name, Gamborg, Blas, they're from, at least Gamborg is from my local area, and I consider Blas to be semi-local at least. And we met them a few times, at least Graham from Blas, and I live really close to Gamborg and their tap room. So, and Danny from Gamborg is the butcher at my local supermarket down here. So I meet him quite often. So it's funny to hear a guy from Romania name breweries we known since they were really unknown or actually almost homebrewers. So it's funny that they moved as far as they have as well.
You have to. You actually, if you're going to do Danish collabs, you have to do a barleywine collab with Blas or something, I think. And in a Danish context, you have to do a sour of some kind with Gamborg. They are known to also do these crazy fruited sours.
Yeah, with way too much fruit in them. What is it, Stefan? He wasn't at Fanø, but he calls it economical suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
that should have been the right name for the beers with the fruited sours, because there's so much fruit in them. So
they did a blueberry one at one point. I think they said that there was some kind of, was it like 1,200 blueberries in
half a liter?
I think half a liter or something.
Well,
crazy.
Yeah, excess is always nice.
Yeah, but I guess like Gamborg has been inspired by Omnipollo, you named it. You could try and have you tried to do beers like this in a soft serve, like the slush ice machine?
We did think about it a lot of times, but we can't find the right device in Romania. So I think we're gonna have to invest in one just to have it for fun festivals at one moment. But it's been on our mind. Even if you look at our beers right now, do they need any more?
No. It was just because I thought it would be so crazy that you might want to try it.
Yeah, we just didn't have the tech for it yet.
If you go to Denmark for a festival again, you have to do it. People would love it.
I've seen that happening. Yeah, we'll be in August together. So let's see. Fingers crossed.
We'll see you there then. At least I'll be there. I think Anders, he doesn't want to go there.
Wrong, but I sometimes pour at beer festivals for Amma, and I maybe somehow promised to go to another festival that weekend without looking in my calendar.
Okay.
That's bad planning.
It's no planning.
Yeah.
I smell beef.
No, it's just I'm going there for the full festival in Aarhus, so I'll definitely see you there.
Okay.
I'll try to switch things around. I really want to go as well. So
yeah, I know you want to. That was something about the strong beer festival and Danish beer. But what about you talked about collabs? You have done quite a few collabs. Can you mention or maybe say something about some collabs that was memorable, or maybe some that you have learned something through these collaborations?
It was really fun to do the collab at Gaon, because they have a bigger system than us and a bit slightly a bit more automatic, and we kind of realized you could do things somehow more differently. So we definitely learned something from them. It was exactly before they opened the tap takeover, the tap room that they have now. So I'm really looking forward to coming back and going to the tap room also. We've done a few back and forths with Ale Farm and Dry and Bitter, but that was before COVID times. And now this crazy stuff with Stepping Stone, and I'm not sure what else is coming up, but I can't wait to learn more stuff. I'm a big nerdy fan for Bad Seed. I even have a beer here right now. I'm going to open it, and I keep hoping that our ways are going to cross at one moment. But I do like what they do. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. And maybe you can tell our listeners, which beer is it that you're pouring from Bad Seed?
Oh, I got the Zwart. It's the collab with the Schwarzbier.
Yeah,
it's Schwarz beer. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So that's really kind of a brewer's beer, the German lager types.
Yep.
If you ask a Danish brewer and you ask them to say what's your favorite beer style, 9 out of 10 would say it's Rauchbier.
Oh yeah, everybody's got a big heart on for Bamberg.
Yeah.
It's also a great place. I was in Bamberg last summer, both for Schlenkerla and Special and all those places. It was amazing.
Yeah, and it made us not only drink more Rauchbier, but between Niels and I think we have been drinking a bit more Helles as well.
That's my favorite lager style. That's Helles.
You brought home some great stuff.
I sure did, and had even more in Germany. This sour beer, it's so amazing. But I think if this is not going to turn into an all-nighter, I think maybe we have to turn to the last beer.
Yeah. I just need
Do you agree, Anders?
Yeah, I do. I just need to move things around on my table here.
Yeah.
But it was really, really nice. That one, I get all again, like the cinnamon swirl, I get exactly the ice cream, the fruitiness, it's really refreshing in some point because you have the sourness as well. So nice.
We really do like to not lie on the can. So we try to narrow down the ingredients to actually get to what it says on the label. Hopefully.
Yeah, but you have just before opening the last beer, when I sit with the can in here, I can see all the ingredients, all the malts, all the nobody cares about the hops, as you said. But I probably could find it on an IPA. I can see all the adjuncts and even which type of yeast, and I love that kind of detail because that gives me some idea of not only the name and the beer style, but what can I expect? There's only one thing I don't know on the label here, but.
Anders, can I just read something to you from this can before we open it?
Exactly, of course.
It says, Joe is a pretty regular guy. Wakes up early, works all day, and gets back to bed late in the night. You'd think nothing could surprise him anymore. After all, the mocha frappuccinos, hazelnut ristrettos, and exotic Kopi Luwak, think again.
So now I'm not sure what I'm in for.
I think you are in for Imperial Tonka Rush.
Yeah, and I guess it's going to be Tonka and coffee galore.
Let's try. Oh, shoot.
Definitely
Now
Tonka.
I really had a bath. In this podcast, we have a saying that a beer can could be full like a beer from Moorsleutel.
Oh,
meaning
it's an overfill.
It's full all the way to the lid. And this one is, I actually think that I repainted the room.
I didn't, but it's sure it's full. But let's try to pour some while you perhaps clean up your table or whatever, Niels Kristian.
Let's do it. The smell of Tonka is amazing in this beer.
I guess you need to be into the flavor and aroma of Tonka for this one, because it's so prominent in the immediate aroma. Just when I popped open the can, I there was no doubt this is going to be a Tonka beer.
But it says so, Anders. It says Tonka Rush.
Exactly as Krista said, we don't like to lie on the on the can. So, and you should.
They sure didn't on this one.
But there's definitely coffee there as well. Like
yeah,
really dark, nice, dark roasted coffee. And a bit of sweetness, like a chocolatey cocoa, yeah.
Then coffee again, fruity coffee also.
Really nice.
Yeah. It actually smells very, very nice. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
I have to have one more. I'm getting Tonka all the way, but also the coffee. I think it's so very well balanced. I really like Tonka and the flavors, but this is so very well integrated in this beer. The coffee and the Tonka and the sweetness from the beer. And I actually can't remember. Is it like 10% or something? This beer,
10.5.
Again, 10.5. Yeah, I can't even sense the alcohol in this one. I think it's very, very, very nice to drink.
I'm having. It's funny because there's no doubt there's Tonka. There's loads of coffee, but the chocolate sensation is for me actually more dominant, and I guess it's those personal receptors or whatever you call them. I get it's so chocolate heavy for me, but I really like it. It's not the sweet chocolate. It's not milk chocolate. It's that bitter high cocoa percentage. Yeah, it's really, really nice.
I think actually that's a quality of Tonka that you have these chocolate-like flavors.
Yeah, but there's cocoa nips as well. So I guess they enhance each other.
They do. We're just talking to keep each other's awake on us.
No. It's what we usually do, just in Danish.
Yeah, but Chris, this beer, the Imperial Tonka Rush, can you tell us a bit about the ideas of this beer?
Yeah, maybe. So it's one of our most coffee-oriented imperial stouts, meaning that we do try to source it from a nice, fancy local roastery. It's called Sloan. This is a El Salvador coffee, and obviously it has a bigger name attached to it, but I don't remember now because I can't be arsed to actually remember that. But we do talk with them to roast them freshly, send them by Uber to the brewery, add them to the fermentation tank, super fresh, to really get all the character in there. Limited contact, just to not overdo it. So it's a bit of a coffee geekiness also involved here. I think this one also adds a bit to the nice dark chocolate vibes, aside from the cocoa nibs. Again, we want to keep this a bit more dry on the coffee side, so it doesn't have extra vanilla or anything. The Tonka is the only spice that anyway has its own inherent vanilla. I like it. It's always a gamble with Tonka Rush because I think it's like cilantro. Some people can feel it from 2 kilometers away. Some people can say, oh, it could get a bit more. But I think it's just enough. But again, it's a super big thing about taste because it was the sweetheart spice of a few years ago. and it's been so overdone. Like everybody at one moment was doing Tonka in stouts, even in sours, that I think some people just had enough of it. We loved it though, so we wanted to keep it in. And again, with the coffee edge on the side to actually really concentrate on that, not just make it a Tonka pastry stout. I think it gets balanced. You get a bit of everything, hopefully.
You sure do, and I actually think it's if you could talk about balance in a beer with these flavors, I think it's very balanced, this one, because of the coffee. Without the coffee, I think the Tonka would be overwhelming.
Mm.
Yeah, probably. But it has even though it's a sweet beer, it has loads of bitterness on the end. It balances out really nice.
Yeah, we actually have a question regarding your stouts. It's from one of our listeners, Kent by Christensen. He says, from sours to stouts, I'm impressed with your beers. My best beer experience at the Strong Beer Festival on Fanø was Scout's Honor. What's the secret behind this amazing beer?
Scout's Honor is also one of our booziest Imperial stouts. Like, I think it's 15.5, so it packs a punch. That also means that it's super sweet by its own, because it's high Plato. I think it's 34 Plato, which is always a bitch to brew, but we do get there. So from the start, you got a lot of desserty characteristics just from the high Plato and the malt complexity, which is rich. It's good. And then it's pretty much a simple, on-the-nose graham cracker s'mores recipe that is always yummy. There's a lot of chocolate there, a lot of cocoa nibs, like a ton of cocoa nibs, and then marshmallow and graham cracker extract, which are, again, super yummy on their own. So Scout's Honor is a how do you call it? It's a 3-point shot at basketball. It's got everything. Yeah. It's one of our sweetest, yummiest, dessertiest Imperial stouts. And from what I've heard, and from what I can reckon, it's not as boozy as it should be. But again, it's so deceptive, so dangerous. So yeah, I'm glad he liked it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Anders,
but most,
Anders, did you have the Scout's Honor at Fanø?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, maybe that was wrong for you.
Oh.
Anders had too much beer at Fanø, so
way too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah,
I guess I'm gonna hear for that for a while.
You are. You have to hear about that. But you also brought a bottled beer. It was I think it was it Merlot barrel aged or something?
Yeah, a Romanian Merlot barrel aged, a Russian Imperial stout. So something more not as chunky, more dry, more roasty, more traditional and old schoolish, but aged in Romanian wine barrels. Yeah.
It was very, very, very nice. I remember that I and my friend Alan, we went at the Saturday session. We went to you. I think you had announced it for like 5 o'clock or something, and we went there like 10 minutes to 5, quarter to 5, because we had ordered burgers, so we had to go and have it. And you just said, "Oh, sure, we'll open it." And then I almost had a bad conscience because people just started flowing in to have this beer because we were there before time.
Not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of this type of opening bottles hype. We just play around from time to time. So I was thinking, it's not gonna be a huge line at 4 o'clock or whenever we set the time. Let's open it a bit earlier. But apparently, it went. It cleaned out in 15 minutes. We had like 12 bottles, I think. So that was it.
Yeah, it was super nice. I'm a huge fan of these red wine barrels. So. Yeah. Did you have the Fanø one, the Red Wedding? Did you try that one?
Yes. I tried a lot of weddings from Fanø. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of an icon in Danish barrel aged beers. The Red Wedding, or the Wedding series, at both red, white, and black wedding.
Yeah.
Anders, do you have something you want to hear about Hop Hooligans or Romanian beer? Or maybe we should hear something about the Romanian beer scene. Were you the first craft brewers in Romania, or how is it?
Not really, no. So I think there were some guys maybe 2 or 3 years before us, independent, craftish, but usually staying in the lines of doing a blonde, a dark, like old school, non-pretentious stuff. A few years before us, then we had the first IPA. Some guys called Ground Zero did it. Simple, I don't know, somewhere in between a homebrew and a West Coast, if that could be a thing. That could be, but it was the first contact of that the Romanians had with hops, so that was really nice. And then they also had a bit of tank space to allow some other small breweries to do some gypsy projects at them. And there were some guys like Beretta, and we also did one. I think Wicked Battle. They started doing a few New England IPAs then. And maybe, I think in 1 year's time, we also opened up. And it's not like I want to, and obviously far from that, but just time-wise, I think that's when it started. Like a lot of other breweries started getting into modern brewing. Like really hazy IPAs, heavy stouts with adjuncts. We have some one-off breweries that are doing some nice Belgian stuff, but that's pretty much when people started opening breweries and thinking outside of the simple blonde/dark lager box. So I would never say we started it, but we started at the right moment, so to speak.
And how is Romanian beer today? Is it growing? Is craft beer growing in Romania?
It's been growing for a while. COVID actually did a thing. I know it sounds I don't know, petty, but yeah, it actually hit a lot of the industry here, especially bars and importers and distributors. But like maybe for a year and a half, let's say almost 2, it's been kicking up really, really fast. Like a lot of new projects are more stabilized, not just a hobby brewery or a hobby gypsy brewing operation. Like we got new people coming in and actually creating a nice identity and really good portfolios. So yeah, it's better. It's way better. We're way past the baby steps part. I think we're getting into puberty.
Yeah. Anders?
Yeah, just because we talked about it on the podcast before, so Niels already knows the story, but I went on my family summer vacation in, I think it was 2017, to the Balaton Lake in Hungary. And went to another town, the Balaton Fred, that had a really small craft beer store. And I said, and they didn't actually speak any English, so I just tried to explain them. I want your local favorite beer. And I had a few Mad Scientists, a few Monjos, and a few, but almost all of them were like caramel malts, West Coast stuff in 17. And then there's a few, just 1 or 2 songs from Martin and the guys at Mad Scientists with weird label art. Not at all what they look like today, but it was so funny to experience because it was just about, I guess, the every country somehow starts the craft beer scene in the same way, because when we look at the Danish craft beer scene, it was exactly the same. Somehow, the blonde, the perhaps a brown ale, a Hefeweizen, all that stuff, all the small breweries, and then some breweries specialized in I don't know, we're great at stouts, a great at West Coast, and then came all the hazy stuff. Do you think there's a bit of it's even though it's different countries, there's the same kind of development?
Yeah, the same steps. I can see that. It's a pattern. Some people are faster, some people are slower, but I guess that's the same pattern.
yeah, but in Denmark we have like what is it? Just around 200 active breweries or something like that, and somehow I think it's the same story. Perhaps we just started 10 years before, something like that. So.
But we still haven't had any. I think actually Hop Hooligans has overtaken the Danish beer industry, smoothie sour wise.
Yeah. I can't remember anyone doing something like this in Denmark.
No.
Like the peach, apricot. Yeah, they might have been using the same fruits, but definitely not in that way.
We'll just keep importing them from Romania. We have to.
Yeah.
from Romania and the US, and
but maybe not from the US at the moment. We don't have to be political, but I think people are shying away from the American beers at the moment.
That's right. Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with news so much, but yeah, I know. I heard things.
Apparently, there's a beef between Denmark and the US about Greenland.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So something about hinting to move American troops into Greenland to get control of it. It's
But
it's
that's
so
politics,
weird.
and this
it's
is about
so weird.
beer.
Yeah. But as long as we can get stuff like this from Europe, we don't actually need to import American stuff.
We don't need to import it from the US with this stuff.
No,
not at all.
I think that's a real reality actually for the past few years, because if you would think about like 8 or 9 years ago, all the good stuff, whenever somebody had, I have a really good beer right now, it was probably something stashed away and brought in from the US, or actually exchanged for a cantillon or something with a lot of blood and sweat. But right now, I think in Europe there are breweries that can do things on par or maybe even better than the big guys in the US. So it's we've got where to choose from right now. It's a good thing for the beer geeks. Yeah.
If you could choose freely from any European brewery, who would what would be your dream to do a collab with? Which brewery?
Let's circle back to the barley wine affinity and say Baladin from Italy.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because I love their barley wines. Yeah. Even though they oxidize them because they want to, I love them. They're masters, craftsmen of what they do of that style. Yes.
The ones I've had are so amazing.
Yeah, they're so interesting. Those are oxidized on purpose, really long, lagered. Yeah, it's really interesting beers.
Just off the top of my head, let's say Baladin,
yeah. What about if you could choose freely, and you can't pick Stepping Stone and Daniel, you have done that, a Danish brewery to do a collab?
Bad Seed. I'm drinking Bad Seed now. Easy.
we know that both Peter and Frederik from Bad Seed, they're listening to this podcast, so that must be a heads up to Frederik and Peter. Do a collab with the Hop Hooligans.
Perfect. Let's just say this wasn't a paid advertisement then.
Yeah.
We'd love to try that beer. Which beer should it be with Bad Seed, if you could decide?
I like how they're really pushing Modern West Coast IPA from what I've tried even these past few days from them. So something in that vernacular for sure. It's they're keeping their ears to the track. I love that. They know what's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anders, do you have any more questions for Cris?
No, just in Danish. Peter, Frederik, det får I lige til at ske.
Yeah, Anders just said that Peter and Frederik, you have to make it happen.
Okay.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
No, I think we've been around the things we had noted in our notes, and I guess we went through all the listeners' questions, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
There was 2 from Søren, but I guess we covered them.
We did. It was about collabs and
exactly.
the failed beer recipes. But you managed to impress us with your talk about not failed
Ever
beers.
failing.
That might be just my opinion. Maybe some people think we fail a lot, so I don't.
No. I haven't had a bad beer from you.
Me neither.
No, there's still time. We're working on it. If you went past the black activated charcoal one, we need to test you a bit more.
I did.
Yeah.
Anders, are we going to say what you have to say something in Danish right now?
Yeah. Should I just say what I usually say?
No, I actually think we have to thank you, Cris, before Anders does this. We have to thank you for taking your time to talk to us, both at Fanø and tonight. It has really been a pleasure to talk to you and feel your passion about beer and these some would say crazy beers, but these ice cream beers and the big stouts and the big barley wines and not shying away from doing those pastry beers. We love that.
Yeah.
I glad it was fun chatting with you guys. Likewise. So I hope to see you soon. Also,
at least in Aarhus, at Aarhus together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At least one of you, apparently.
It somehow has to be both of us.
I know it will happen. Others will be there.
Yeah, somehow. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah. But others, say something in Danish.
I will, men det er jo bare alt det, jeg altid siger. I skal huske at abonnere på den podcast-tjeneste, I nu lytter på, fordi så kommer de her ord helt automatisk til jeres ører. I skal like, de bliver også automatiske. Så skal I like, synes om, anmelde, dele det med nogen, I synes, der skal høre noget mere øl-podcast. Det skal ud. Særligt, når vi har super spændende gæster, både fra ind og ikke mindst, når vi har også fra udlandet der.
Ja. Anders, skal vi til os at sige, at vi ved jo også allerede ude i fremtiden, får vi også udenlandske gæster, som snakker dansk?
Jamen, det kan vi da godt.
Ja, om ikke så længe, så skal vi jo have Flying Guru.
Ja.
Ja, som jo er Henrik, der brygger øl i Sverige, i Landskrona. Han skal være med. Der kommer lige lidt imellem det, men den er allerede sat i bogen.
Det bliver spændende i hvert fald. Det er ikke et bryggeri, jeg har super meget viden om.
Nej, men der kommer helt sikkert et opslag om noget med spørgsmål til Flying Guru, så skal vi ikke lade den hænge der?
Jo, og udover det, så ved vi har noget spændende dansk lined op også. Dansk fra Danmark, så det bliver...
Det har vi.
Spændende gæster.
Det er godt. Anders, du skal sige et eller andet om, at det her, det var...
Ord om rumænske kage og isøl.
Jeg elsker isøl.